The former Education Secretary, Gavin Williamson, has been forced to apologise by the independent expert panel after it found he had bullied former Tory Chief Whip Wendy Morton via text. Now, Gavin Williamson's messages were rude and unhelpful, and you can read them online. I'm not going to go through them now, and in certain parts they were very unpleasant, which he accepts, and he's accepted, as he basically has to, the finding of the report. But this seems to me to be the most ridiculous idea in its fundamentals. Wendy Morton was the Chief Whip. The Chief Whip, from those of you who have watched House of Cards will know, is the person who has power in Parliament. Backbench MPs' careers are determined by the Chief Whip. Will you get office? Will life be made difficult for you in your local constituency association? Will you get a slip so that you can go to a family event? All of this is in the gift of the Chief Whip. The Chief Whip has patronage and power. The person who does not have power is somebody talking to the Chief Whip. And if that person is rude to the Chief Whip, the Chief Whip, as the person in authority, has to be able to cope with it. I was actually Leader of the House when the Independent Complaints and Grievance Scheme was set up. And it's very important. It's very important that within Parliament, people don't abuse power. But this was intended to protect the clerks, the cleaners, people's employees. It wasn't meant to protect ministers and powerful people arguing robustly with each other. And when you look at the definitions that have been used in the report, which I have in front of me, it says that bullying may be characterised as offensive, intimidating, malicious or insulting behaviour involving an abuse or misuse of power that can make a person feel vulnerable, upset, undermined, humiliated, denigrated or threatened. If you're the Chief Whip, you can't feel vulnerable, upset, undermined, humiliated, denigrated or threatened because you're the one with whom the power rests. And it seems to me the independent experts panel simply failed to understand the relationship of power between people in Parliament. I'm actually all in favour of professional people in a working environment and in other environments being polite to each other. I'm not in favour of people using what you might call Anglo-Saxon language. I think it is a sign of a failure to command the full vocabulary of English if you resort to swear words. But that doesn't mean that somebody should be punished for giving a forceful view to somebody who is not only equal in authority to him, but higher in authority to him. I think the Commissioner for Standards got it right. He dismissed the complaint. He said that there was not bullying, even though the behaviour wasn't great, and the independent panel has got it wrong. I'm also surprised that they allowed an extension to the deadline for bringing an appeal to the decision of the Commissioner. Surely we should all follow the same rules, and that as both sides knew the rules, there was very little excuse for extending the period available. Well, Gavin has accepted it, he's apologised, but I think this is fundamentally wet wipe territory.